approve the regular meeting of June 9, 2015. Everybody stand for 2016.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. The agenda is before us. Is there any additions or deletions? We have all board members or staff.
Just let the record reflect that our Parks Director is excused for this evening as he's actually at an event being recognized for some professional and civic accomplishments.
General stand presented. We're going to go to the first order of business. That's the Sheriff's Report, Mrs. Kelly.
Thank you. Item number 1 is something that I'll turn over to Lieutenant Springer.
Lieutenant Ron Springer on behalf of Sheriff Meyer. Pleases the board, we're asking for the purchase of one shield that will be able to be kept inside the patrol vehicles for the responding officers. Not only does this help provide for the safety of the officers, it also allows them an opportunity to perhaps have an extra few seconds to evaluate the situation and prevent a unnecessary use of serious force out in the field. Some of the statistics I presented to the board with the resolution pertains to the rising and uptrending, I guess I would say, of workplace violence. It also quotes one of the Columbus Dispatch articles, which states that the state of Ohio has the highest level of threats inside the school districts and the school systems. So we were able to get a test or a demo piece. If anyone wants to take a look at it either during the meeting or at the end of the meeting, we'll
What
made
are
of it.
they made out of?
It's a ballistic panel.
So before you have a resolution to approve the purchase of one Baker Ballistics Patrol Bat Shield and one LED light system and authorized payment from Fund 1G02 in an amount not to exceed $2,620.
Now my question would be why just one? Not that I'm wanting to see a half dozen or dozen, but
why are we
I
only
mean,
buying
if
one?
say you got two incidents of equal escalation or seriousness,
I asked him that too.
only one of them's in good condition.
You all think the same. Everyone's asked me the same,
I
exact
said
same
why
question.
one, yeah.
At this point in time, we like to get one in service and in the field. So the idea behind this is to be able to put it in the cruiser and hot seat it. So at all times, one Plain Township cruiser would be outfitted with this ballistic shield. At this current time, we don't have enough staffing in Plain Township to be able to respond to two or three multiple, this level of threat going on. The Sheriff's Office does staff two similar shields. They're older bunkers, they're much larger, much more bulky, and able to be transported easily inside a cruiser. That's the benefit of this system in that it folds in half. And will fit any of the patrol vehicles assigned to the township. So at this point, we'd like to get one in service, see how it goes, and then perhaps we can revisit the purchasing of more of them in the future.
What type of training? I mean, once it's secured, is there any additional training deputies are going to have to go through, or is that something they already have?
The use of the shield, we have some videos that the company actually supplies us with, which will get them used to deploying the shield and how to deploy it. However, in our fall firearms course, we need to go through shooting with this shield. So it's able to be deployed as soon as we get it in hand, but we need additional training.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because-
I'll move on to Sheriff's Report number 1.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Excuse me, Mr. Leo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that's all there is officially under the Sheriff's Report. We'll have the monthly report at the next meeting. Lieutenant Springer, you want to touch on that real brief?
Trending, basically, which is one of the topics we really have to keep going in front of the township and to the residents. Trending right now, we probably have in the last month about 10 burglaries. The majority of those are residential burglaries. We do have had, I believe, 2 commercial burglaries. Burglaries are spread throughout the township. It's not isolated geographically. And that we have had them on the west side as well as the east side. The extreme southwest side of the township does not seem to have as many burglaries as the rest of the township has had. We do have some suspects that we are looking at. In fact, the Sheriff's Office Investigations Group, Major Oliver, has been busy with Deputy Conant, Detective Conant, for the last 2 days, tracking down a couple of those suspects. We did obtain a search warrant today, correct? Search warrant was obtained today for DNA, and we're hoping that the crime lab is going to be able to link at least one of our suspects back to some of these burglaries. In addition to the residential burglaries, we've also had a spree or 4 or 5 stolen vehicles. And we believe that these stolen vehicles are being used as a method of transportation in the burglaries. So it's very hard for us when a suspect does this, unfortunately, that we can't say look for a red car, look for a blue car, whatever it is, because they're stealing a car and then breaking into the houses. So the residents are aware these burglaries are not just occurring during the daytime hours, they're also occurring in the evening hours, and that's very rare for burglaries. Burglaries normally occur during the daytime hours when everyone's away and at work. There have been no injuries surrounding burglaries whatsoever. At the last meeting when we spoke with the monthly report, the same at this meeting, I'm just going to ask the residents to make sure they're locking their vehicles. They're keeping their valuables out of sight. If they have a garage door opener in their vehicle in their driveway, it's not a bad idea at night to take that garage door opener back inside the house with you. That way if somebody breaks out a window, they're not then gaining entry to your house. Likewise, make sure your windows are locked at night or have some type of bar securing them to prevent them from opening too far. And if you have an alarm, make sure you lock your doors and you set your alarm.
Very good. Thank you.
Does anybody in the audience have any concerns they would like to address the sheriff's representatives?
Okay, that will close the sheriff's report. We'll go to new business, Mrs. Campbell.
New business number 1 are the false alarms.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
And then new business number 2 is the resolution for the proclamation that was given earlier this evening to Troy Slabaugh for his dedication, passion, and commitment to the citizens of Plain Township and the performance of his 35 years of service within the Plain Township Fire Department.
I will so move.
I'll second that. Further discussion?
I think just to reinforce the comments that were made during the work session, especially the emotional one by fellow trustee Lino. I mean, Troy Slabaugh was definitely somebody that was not only exceptional, but unique. He was a significant asset to the Plain Township community. The fact that 35 years dedicated to Plain Township, strictly in his fire and safety role, is unheard of, whether it's private or public sector. So, we're genuinely going to miss his absence, and, he's left some big shoes to fill, but I'm confident our staff will be able to do that. So again, collectively, I think we wish him nothing but the best in retirement.
Well said. Roll call please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that's the end of new business.
Thank you, Mrs. Campbell. We'll go to fiscal action report, Mr. Flex.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 1 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment of the pending warrants.
I will so
I'll
move.
second it. Discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 2 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment of regular payroll.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 3 is a request for a resolution to authorize the payment of the following medical claims as provided by healthcare.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 4 is the financial report. Excuse me.
Anybody has any questions? You want Mr. Flex? Go to number 5.
Fiscal officer number 5 is a request for a resolution by the board to authorize the payment to the zoning appeals and zoning commission for the period of January 1st through January 30th.
Also move authority to pay. Second. Discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 6 is a request for a resolution to authorize the refund for overpayments as provided by Emergency Medical Services in Ohio Bill.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And Lastly, fiscal officer number 7 is a request for a resolution to authorize the following transfers.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that'll conclude the fiscal officer's portion of the meeting tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Flex. Now go to the administrator's report, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is to inform the board that I have applied and received for the 2015 Host Site Community Cleanup Grant through the Stark-Tuscaloosa Joint Solid Waste Management District, so that we will be receiving $625 a quarter for our yard waste behind Station 4.
That's awesome.
And item number 2 is informational to let the board know, and this will be in our newsletter, that Saturday, July 18th, we will be hosting an e-waste recycling event at the Township Hall from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. What's new this time is E-Cycle Solutions of Ohio is hosting it with us. So we'll have no cost of manpower overtime. This is their business, what they do. And there's a list of all the items that they take with technology becoming outdated so very quickly. This is a nice way to get rid of your batteries, old cell phones, monitors, DVDs, televisions. There is a charge for any old monitors with the glass tubes, $10 each, or televisions with the glass tubes, which are $10 each. Everything else, if it plugs in, they will take it. And then the next item is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize payment to Worcester Brothers Landscaping for composting in an amount not to exceed $2,512.50.
So moved.
Second it. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And that ends the administrator report.
Thank you, Lisa. We now go to the fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 1 is the monthly report. Item number 2 is, you show a hard copy for item number 2, is the hiring of firefighter Scott Young. He hired as a firefighter paramedic starting at 1 a.m. on June 24th, 2015. This is him pending his physical. He has taken his physical, we're waiting to get the results back. We get a call back in today, but he has completed everything, we're just waiting for him to get the results back for us. So I didn't want to delay another 2 weeks to the next meeting, so pending his passing of his physical, he'll be starting on June 24th.
I will so move on item number 2.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a resolution to purchase and payment of 135 kilowatt natural gas generator, 200 amp transfer switch, clean weather kit from Dalton Electric, not to exceed $18,995.
So moved.
This will be at our Station 2, where our new pumps are to be the last issue we have.
I'll second. I'm sorry, station.
Station number 2.
Discussion?
Chief, this will be replacing an older
We don't have-
Okay.
Right now, they have a little portable one, they pull out and start up as use some utilities, computers. But now this will take care of the pumps and everything.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 4 is to authorize a purchase and payment for a Porta-Count Pro respirator and N95 fit tester with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, not to exceed $18,500.
So moved. I'll second it.
Discussion?
Number 4.
Yeah, this is a fit test machine. In the past years, we're required by law under Ohio Administrative Code 4123 to have every one of our firefighters fit tested. We borrowed equipment in the past. Some of it did not be calibrated properly. It's been broken. We've had to buy parts for them just to get them to work. So, in the last 5 or 6 years we've been doing that. And we just got to the point where it's just necessary for us to have our own. and we can keep track of it and make sure it's calibrated properly. Again, this is to ensure that firefighters are having a good seal on their base piece, but also on the N95 respirator, in case there's any airborne diseases or anything that they may be infected with, that they wear the N95 mask. So this both is a quantitative and a qualitative test that is performed with this machine.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lino?
Yes. And item number 5 is the acceptance of Captain Troy Slayball's retirement after 35 years of service in Township Fire Rescue.
I also move.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
So thank you.
Mr. Chief, you go to the road department, Mr. Iacino.
Chairman, item number 1 is the monthly report for May. Item number 2 is a resolution to approve the Stark County Community Development Block Grant Funding Program Agreement for the replacement of the storm sewer along the southern stretch of Brookhaven Circle and 46th Street.
I also move.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to hire ME IBI Group to do the final design on the Brookhaven Storm Sewer Project in Phase 2.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution to amend the last sentence of resolution number 15268 passed on May 26, 2015, to read the total estimated amount of the bid to be paid from those different funds, just bookkeeping cleanup, just to flex requested.
Also on row 4. Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 5 is to amend the last sentence of resolution of 15276 passed on May 26, 2015, to state those funds also.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 6 is a resolution to purchase and the installation of liquid wetting systems from Concord Road Equipment to be installed on trucks 2, 3, and 4, not to exceed $15,553.18.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Probably Joe telling them what that.
Over the last 2 years, we've gone to some liquid de-icing to help out snow quicker, colder temperatures, and actually, all our trucks weren't set up properly to have it spread right with the salt, so we were spraying the loads. This will help make it even more effective at a quicker rate. And these 3 trucks, we're going to, 3 of our newer trucks, we're going to send up to this company to install it, because it ties into our control system, our electronic control system. And as we buy new trucks, the trucks will all be outfitted with these tanks and the wetting systems.
It's awesome. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And item number 7 is a resolution to hire Dickerson Construction to replace concrete curb and gutter on Whitestone, White Ridge, and Sheffield, not to exceed $33,000.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Yes, you have pictures there. We're going to have some problems with the existing driveways that are connected to the curb and gutter once we tear them out. I just wanted some leadership from the board on they think the proper procedure would be to send the residents a letter stating that we're not, some of those, once we dig out the curb and gutter, a lot of those driveways are going to collapse, they're crumbling. I did talk to the contractor, he's willing to re-pour those slabs at the residents' cost. I didn't know how the board, because you got, they got phone calls, why are we have to pay for these? The curb and gutters are a mess on those streets and storage driveways, so I don't know which direction to go into.
Mr. Law Director, this is one of these, personally for me, is a tough call, because our guys are going to go in there and start repairing them. And Joe's right, they're already cracked, and once he starts repairing, they're just going to break up even more. So it's like, don't touch the beehive, these are going to fly, that's going to happen here. Once we touch that curb, those beginning of the concrete is going to break up because of us.
Some of them as much as 6 to 8 feet back.
So,
Into the area.
and so it's like a part of me says, yes, but then I know Trustee Hall, and I agree with him, you know, but we should be responsible for someone who's allowed their concrete driveway to get that bad already. But, so part of me says, wow, we're going to be breaking something up and causing it to break up.
Where are we looking to break things up?
Here, would you like to look at
Yeah.
Just, what I'd like to
We'll
hear
be
from you.
replacing
Oh,
concrete curb and gutter.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
No, it's
I just
okay.
want you to look at that.
Okay.
Once we tear this out, it crumbles, this is all.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This is what we're talking about.
So when we come in here and we redo this, there's no way to avoid that fall. It's patching.
We have to form this, you know.
Yeah.
So what we break up, could you,
I mean, the second one, you're gonna lose.
Susie, take it apart.
First section, the rest of them, you're on your own.
Have they been sent letters?
Not yet, I haven't sent anybody a letter yet.
I think that's maybe where we gotta start, because they're telling that we're coming out there to work, that some of those areas are in a state of blight,
Trustee Hall just said, the first square, we should be
The
responsible.
first section, we take that under consideration.
Because we would maybe damage that when we're digging out the curb anyway, so.
After that.
Well, the problem is, as you know, once you say the first square, when you do that first square, the second square is gonna go. There's
Some of these
signs.
signs are 8 or 10 foot behind the curb before they're saw cut, so
Right.
is that what you're talking, the whole 8 or 10 foot? We should replace it.
See, like, I don't like that at 8 or 10. We have a couple foot.
I go 3-4 feet from the end of the curb.
Why do these need,
You know,
Because they're just.
they're just falling apart?
Yeah, and we got a better price by, you know, if I left 10 feet in, they could run a machine, we save them a lot of money by taking, it's all deteriorated. I mean, they've been deteriorated for years, we've been putting this off for years.
Which one is this?
This is Whitewood, which is across from,
Now, we may
up
not,
there.
you know, we
okay.
could be jumping to conclusion, they may not even think that we need to fix it anyway. But did you see the concrete man's gonna give them that cost to repair? So we're assuming that they're gonna be upset by us.
Right.
We don't know, they may say, you know what, we understand that.
And some may, and
I
some
just
may.
feel
Salt
bad,
cut.
I feel bad with
You
that
know,
break.
at least a foot, because we have to get a form in there, so
Yeah.
we'll probably solve.
Why don't you send these residents a letter, let them know what the process is, and give them the name and number of the contractor that would do it at cost? That seems like a solution if you're
I think
offering
we could start
costs,
there,
and start there and see what
certainly.
happens.
I mean, because you're
Say,
gonna,
but if they say no, I mean, I would recommend that the board, we go about 3 to 4 feet from the gutter.
my recommendation would be you start with the letter to gauge what you're gonna be running into in terms of people complaints or no problem or whatever. And then if it seems like it's kind of a mild thing, I think we can go ahead and treat it almost on a case-by-case basis, only because I think what you're likely to run into is no matter where you set what you're talking about as an arbitrary kind of cutoff, we're going to have several, if not many, residents say, well, I didn't have a single crack in there until you got there and went up your 3 feet or your 8 feet.
That's why I don't get video.
I video every driveway before you.
So I think you ought to start with the letter, if you're asking me, start with the letter, let them know what's going on, let them know the contractor has made that offer, he has, right?
Yeah, it's in his.
Oh, it's in his proposal. Let him know that he's made that offer and see, maybe we won't have a problem, maybe we'll just take you up on it. Because they do want that work done. We're gonna make it nicer, for them. So that's where I think we gotta start.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same board, that on the same. on board.
And then when you're out
Once I send
there-
that letter out, you know, we're gonna get phone calls before we even
Right,
start.
right. When are you looking to start?
By the end of the month, probably.
All right, why don't we, let's make sure we talk before that. And then the other thing we need to make sure of is that when we start, we're out there documenting everything.
Oh, everything.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
Makes sense, that's a tough call.
Yeah, that is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we already do the resolution.
No. We moved in second, that's all.
Roll call.
Mr. Leo?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Joe, we will now go to the zoning department and we'll turn that back over to Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. So far for this month, I have the monthly report. I've issued 46 permits, and then Mr. Tom Ferreira has investigated 73 complaints. I have to say, Mr. Ferreira has been a huge asset as the zoning inspector. Does a phenomenal job and is bringing a lot of credibility to that position as the township inspector. So you'll see some new residential construction and then a couple new businesses. And then number 2 are the nuisance abatements. Again, thanks to Tom's hard work, we went from 15 abatements. Actually, we had 30 on the docket until Monday. So we went from 15 to 70. So before, I'm sorry, 15 to 7, not 70. So before you is a resolution to abate nuisance abatements A through G.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Lisa,
Yes.
going forward, some of these, like Rolling Ridge, are we going to hand that
Tom?
one,
Yes.
yeah,
Tom
a
has
monthly
started,
drive-by?
even though we don't have a computerized program in place, he and I have started something that when we're able to put it in a, like an iWorks program. So yes, we have that in place.
This is crazy.
Did we do roll call on that?
No, roll call.
Mr. Leo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And then item number 3 are the nuisance payments, so I have a resolution for nuisance payments, items A through C.
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Who was on that second, Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Leo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
And the next item I'm getting to, as I get through the abatements and payments, is a letter of resignation from Mr. David Rochong, and it reads, Attention Zoning Commission, this letter is to advise you that as of June 1st, 2015, I will be residing at the above address in North Canton, Ohio, and will no longer be a Plain Township resident. Due to this move, I will no longer be able to be a member of the Plain Township Zoning Commission, so I'm submitting my resignation. I've served on the Zoning Commission many years and always had the interests of Plain Township and its residents in mind, as well as legal requirements and decisions. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as a member of the Zoning Commission. David Rochon.
So moved.
I'll second it.
As far as, I don't know.
Is it not a resolution for that one?
He's done an outstanding job for us.
How many years do you have an actual record? Because I mean, I know he's actually led some of the meetings that have been pretty contentious and heated. He's done it with diligence and polish that a lot of folks make cave or back down on. So is there something, even just as a, I don't know, not necessarily a proclamation, but something that we can frame as, you know, on behalf of board appreciation for
It needs to be
service?
presented with
That's a
something,
good-
maybe invited to a meeting.
That's a good one.
I really appreciate that.
That's a good one, yeah. He did a really good
Yeah,
job
he's
for
been
us.
with us a long time, so I'll prepare that and then
Yeah, we can
talk
s-
with him about when would be a good time.
That's a good one.
And then the next item on the agenda I have is just some communication I wanted to make the board aware of from the Stark County Building Department to our new inspector, Scott Kelly, that George Kent did a courtesy inspection of 1905 Red Coach, which we had talked about, well, the board had talked about at the last meeting. And they did an inspection and that the home is structurally sound and in good condition. So That house isn't on this evening because a company did come in and cut the grass, not as well as our crew would have done, but it is cut. And then after that, you see the timeline of events from Scott Kelly to Chief Snyder. So I just wanted to follow up that structural inspection was done.
Very good.
And that's the end of the zoning department.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll go to the Parks Department, and we'll turn that back to you.
Thank you. Item number 1 is the monthly report. And if you have any questions, I can answer them as I sat down and went through it with Rob, who is being honored at 20 under 40 this evening. But as you know, he's had a couple big events with lacrosse tournaments, and baseball season has started, and also a new outdoor soccer league has started. So
Our staff did a phenomenal job, especially I know one weekend we won the lacrosse tournament. Some calls, complaints regarding the park just on the ground. Ironically, I happened to be on the phone with a couple folks shared their thoughts with Mr. Steinberg, and just want the record to reflect that indeed that was not plain township staff that was coordinating or executing that function for the agreement we had. So overall, given the volume of people that are moving through there, our team has always did an exceptional job having the fields prepped, keeping them well maintained, keeping the facility clean. It's easy with that volume of people to let trash and sanitary get out of here. Never a concern.
And item number 2 is a resolution, it's an amendment of resolution number 15-219 for Pledges Asphalt. They had to do a little more patching than they initially expected to do when they did the Alpine walking path. So it is to increase the authorized payment from $4,950 to $5,850.
So move.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.
Mr. Hubs?
Yes.
And the next item is just a notice that Diamond Community Parks West parking lot is going to be closed Thursday, June 11th, 7 to 3:30 p.m. and June 12th, 7 to 3:30 to repave the entrance of the parking lot and in front of the recycling bins. And that went out to the newspapers. And then also that it'll be reopened at 3:30 on Friday. And also that 2 new park benches will be unveiled on Saturday, June 13th at 10 a.m. One will be commemorating the 10th anniversary of the Historical Society, and the second will be to commemorate the service of the local Girl Scout troop. Just to mention, the paving will be done in-house by the road department, so it will save a significant amount of money, and it will be reimbursed by the Joint Solid Waste District in front of the recycling bins.
And just to be clear, this is the area that's immediately in front of this recycling containers where essentially, I know I've received some calls, and I'm sure some others around here, where it's just running out from after the winter, and it's been backfilled with stone, continues to run out. So I mean,
Yes.
if you're somebody who recycles, we understand that the cars get beat on, but you know, we're not going to dump more resources in it until we get to a corrective measure
Yeah.
like this. So slight short-term inconvenience for the long-term betterment.
That's for sure.
Good teamwork, Joe.
Yeah. And they also, the road department dug a lot of holes for all the newly planted trees in the park too, so good teamwork.
Nice job.
Then lastly, just an event recap of the North Coast Lacrosse Tournament. And Scott, Mr. Rob touched on most of it. Rob just wanted me to express his thanks to the deputies that worked, and you're going to have to call in a third deputy on the last day. Lieutenant Springer, if you could pass that along. His concern again was the parking, because maps had been sent out with the areas where parking should occur. These were very detailed maps for their volunteers. And his recommendation moving forward would be to utilize our own parking people for contracts not already signed, and require all tournaments to utilize our designated parking for a fee. He's going to look at the options to see if there's a reliable and consistent group that might be interested to keep the tournament costs down. But we certainly, after going through this last go-around,
It was ridiculous.
it was, and I personally called the event coordinators and had them pay for some of the tickets when they had their people park individuals in an area, and then they receive tickets. It's just our facility, and we're going to have to maintain that control of the entire facility. So it was worth a try. It didn't work, and now we know where to go in the future. So that is the end of the first part.
Thank you again, Mrs. Smith. Mr. Allrecker? Go to communications, Mrs. Kim.
Thank you. I added on the agenda tonight, is there a Pastor Riley Jackson in the audience? Okay. So, unless that person comes in,
Come back with.
we'll come back to it.
Okay. Anything that concerns the trustees? All right, we'll go to public speaks. Pass it up.
Anybody in the audience has anything they would like to address the board over, you may do so at this time. When we ask that you leave your name and address. Anybody in the audience wish to address the board under anything? I suppose public speaks.
I'd like to start a discussion on the closing of Indro Avenue Northeast.
Ma'am, please give your name and address for the fiscal officer.
Well, they said there was a petition that went
Name
around.
and address for the record,
Pardon?
please.
Oh, Nancy Brazy, 3212 Indro Avenue Northeast.
Can you spell that last name for me?
Pardon?
Spell that last name for me.
B as in boy, R-A-Z-E-K.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Well, the two people on the corner of 33rd Street said they sent a petition around for people to sign to close that street, and I was never offered a petition to sign. And I don't know how two people got the street closed, but it's inconvenient to everybody that lives on Andrew Avenue, because we have to go all the way around now. When we go up 33rd Street, we can't make a left on Harmont because it's so busy. You go down the other way, you can't see over the hill to get out into the traffic. And we had sent a petition around to get the road reopened.
At the level this went to with the county commissioners, I think legally, we've already been, there's no way to reopen that road. And this road was closed based upon a number of safety factors that were measured with data through our traffic trailer, that not only did traffic counts and speed, but as well through communications that our Sheriff Meyer's office had provided, as well as information that the county commissioners looked at. And based upon the safety factors there, the traffic counts on a residential road, it was determined by the county, who has the final authority and say to vacate that road. So once it's vacated, it cannot be reopened. And I know the efforts weren't just of two individuals. There was a number of folks who actually sat in this room, just like there was tonight. Actually more who spoke in concern to it and pushed for it. I know one of the items here, even with respect to your current concerns of having it reopened, there are a number of signatures on here that, for all intents and purposes, are not legitimate for the sake of either incomplete information, or they're not that of Plain Township residents. They're either Louisville, City of Canton, and so forth. So, I mean, those would be negated for any petition purposes on here. Is there anything else we realistically can speak to on this?
I
given
think
the process we
I
went
think you
through?
covered it. It was a long process, and
We had a number of
Mr.
public
Iacino,
hearings
you
too.
can jump in on it, but I think there were over 5 public hearings, and on the petition, there is no way to unvacate a street. Once it's vacated, it's permanent. And I think there were 3 hearings here, 2 at the Commissioner's office, and Mr. Iacino even put his speed trailer out on Endro for the purpose of capturing information about how many cars travel that street. And I think, was it in a day or a weekend?
It was in a weekend.
In a weekend, over 4,000 cars traveled that street, which is a neighborhood street. And Firestone, which we do consider a thoroughfare, doesn't even have that much traffic on it. So that's some of the information that was taken to the Board of Commissioners and by this board. That road was never designed to have that much traffic on it.
The closure of that road was posted for a month in advance of the closure. We never received one phone call about that. It was posted at 30th Street, posted at 33rd Street, and 34th Street.
And there's 59 signatures on the petition, and of that, 32 are invalid, because the majority of those 32 are either in Louisville or residents of the City of Canton. I think about 4 of those have no address, so we don't know where they are, but it's a permanent road vacation.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You need my name?
No, yeah, just.
Name and address
Yeah.
for the record, please.
Tamara, Tomara, Osteen, Osteen. And my address is 3106 33rd Street, Northeast.
Thank you.
Do the 2 people that started the petition, do they own the road?
Do they own the road?
Depends where the road is. It's,
Their,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
their house, their street address is 33rd, but their driveway is on Enron. But they put up a thing, no trespassing, it's a private road now. And even though you can't drive through, you still have kids and people that they walk through. And the one lady said that they own
Private
it.
property now.
Is it?
Yeah, when you said they, though, there's more than just 2 people over there. So really how it works is, when they go through and they like plot a subdivision,
Uh-huh.
they'll put the road in, and the people who have the houses on the road actually would own to the center line until that becomes a public road. That ownership reverts back to whoever's there now. So the folks who live down that, all of them own their interest to the center of that road.
Well, it's only the section.
It's just 2 houses.
It's
Then
just 2 houses.
then those 2 entities would own to the center line of that road.
So we won't plow that, we will not maintain that road. When it needs paved, we won't pave that portion of that road. It's no longer our road.
Well, it kind of sits right there on 33rd, the fire hydrant. Is it gonna get moved because it seems like it's not gonna work if there was ever a fire the way, just because the road is blocked? Because the road is actually short, it's not a long road anyway.
I drove out there and looked at that, and based on that hydrant, since I addressed the county commissioners and the board of trustees for that, did not feel that would be a concern from the fire department with that hydrant. But that was one thing that we wanted to make sure that, there was no evidence that they were going to be creating a hazard, that we're not going to be able to get to a fire hydrant. So I did physically myself go out there and drive that whole area. I'm very familiar with that area. I worked at that fire station down on 31st and Root Avenue back in the 70s, so I'm very familiar with that whole area. But I did go back there just to verify where that hydrant sat and to make sure that there was no legitimate concerns or problems that vacating that street that would create a problem for the fire department.
Richard Knapp, 3213 Endo Northeast.
I'm sorry. You said Richard
Yes.
Knapp?
K-N-A-P-P.
Give me that address again.
3213 Andrew Avenue Northeast. Is there going to be any consideration to the traffic that don't even stop now going down 33rd?
You can certainly put it down for extra patrol, sir.
They're not even slowing down now. No, because you don't need that stop sign on one side. They know there's not much traffic coming down M Road, so they're not even hesitating. Right on through.
They're running the stop sign, sir, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're going right through it, not even slowing down now.
Because there's no end road traffic.
Yeah.
We can make sure we get patrol out there for that.
Right, get out there.
I mean, I think Scott explained it pretty well, but I mean, this was a pretty lengthy process that we went through leading up to the point where we submitted the petition to the commissioners to ask them, asking them to vacate the road. We had 3 public meetings here, and there was 2 separate commissioners hearings over, I think, 3 to 4 weeks span at the commissioner's office prior to that being adopted by the Board of Commissioners. And I don't want to throw this into the commissioners' laps, because they would have some concerns, and we understood what some of those concerns would be as far as the traffic being rerouted to different areas of the, different parts of the neighborhood. But the biggest concern was the number of cars traveling down End Road, using that as a straight through to Walmart. The road was falling apart. The road wasn't built for that much traffic. So we had to try to divert that traffic onto some roads built to withstand. And that's the reason why we made the decision to ask the commissioner to vacate.
Want the map, 3213 End Road Northeast. What I want to know is, what are you going to do now for everybody's safety when we try to go to Walmart, Kmart, any place across that on 62? Because now you stopped us from taking the easiest and safest way for us to get over there. Now we have to get up there on 33rd Street and try to make a left-hand turn on the Harmont. When we go the other direction from our house, because I live right on the corner, we get down there, we go to turn, I think it's Root Avenue. You can't see up over the hill of the apartment complex there to see if there's any cars coming. I've already got hit, not hit, but almost hit 3 times. I hardly ever drive. Just since the road was closed, and the road was closed 3 days early.
Joe, you want to?
The date might have been not perfect, but it was posted for at least.
Yes, it was posted, but it was still closed 3 days before the 31st.
Well, it's always been a concern that the traffic should go 30th Street to Harmont to, into Walmart to traffic light on Harmont. I mean, those are the roads that were built to handle that heavy traffic, not cutting through there. That was our concerns when we spoke to the commissioners, everybody else, including the residents that were there, speaking on that. So that is the most correct route, not through the neighborhood, no matter where. You know. This was brought to us. We didn't look for this closure. This was brought to us by the residents of that street.
Anybody else? Does anybody else have any other concerns they would like to address the board with? Okay, then we'll close public speaks. Go to the approval of minutes.
Also move for May 26, 2015.
I'll second those. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes. There is a need for executive session. Be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn the executive session at 6:50 p.m. from this regular meeting of June 9, 2015, is authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose and consideration of 1A, appointment of a public employer official, 1B, employment of a public employer official, and F, compensation of a public employer official. Second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lino?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Geovasis?
Yes.